What now? Right now? Okay. Well, you've heard a lot of the theory from Ken. Let me tell you the truth. I could stand here and tell you that scleral lenses have changed my life. They haven't really. I live a very ordinary life. I drive about living an ordinary life. I use computers, I can read books, I can watch the television, I can see stuff pretty normally. But that would not be the case had I not ran into that man right there. Because I work for Bauer Media, I work on motorcycle news, and a big part of my job is riding motorcycles. I've just come back from riding dirt bikes in the Alps, which is one of the reasons I can't be with you today, I'm afraid. But let me take you right back to the beginning. If you imagine a much slimmer version of this with some hair, riding around London on a motorcycle to university in the late 1980s, wondering what is going on, why I can see two white lines in the middle of the road. It's a familiar story. So I've got keratoconus, and I've been wearing scleral lenses now in both eyes for nearly 20 years. I was misdiagnosed a lot at the start. A lot of opticians said I had a congenital cataract because I was born 7 weeks prematurely. Eventually I got my GP to refer me to Moorfields Eye Hospital. I was living in Tower Hamlets at the time, and pretty quickly I was diagnosed with having keratoconus and got sent to the external diseases department. Pretty much that week they recommended I have a graft in my right eye because it was too far gone. There was nothing they could do for it. It was too scarred, the cone was too steep. But they fitted me in my left eye with a hard corneal lens, which gave me some vision. But I hated it. I hated that hard corneal lens because it was difficult to handle, difficult to care for. I lost it, I broke it. In fact, there was one time I was riding down the back straight at Brands Hatch and that corneal lens blew out of my eye, which is not where you want to be at 140 miles an hour. So I kind of carried on with one hard corneal lens, nothing in the right, but things were pretty difficult until I had a chance meeting with Ken Pullum. I hope he's not told you that I'm his favourite patient. If he has, I'm sorry about that, but for the record, he's also my favourite authority on scleral lenses. And he ushered me into a secret little cupboard across the road, which is where he was in those days, and he said, look at these, what do you think of these? Never seen a scleral lens before, but before you have time to think, and this is key, and Kenny's very good at this, get the patient in the Ken Pullum arm lock and get those lenses in there, because I could see, and as soon as the patient can see, fantastic. Anything about, oh, you know, what's it going to feel like, is it heavy, what am I going to look like, all that goes out the window when they can see. So he fitted a scleral a lens into the left eye which I got on with fantastically straight away. Really comfortable, lovely feeling to wear, very easy to handle and look after, but also great vision. I see 6/9 with both eyes open at the moment, and things have changed throughout the years because of high drops and eventually I had a graft. But then he said, well, while you're here and we've tried that left lens, why don't we try a right lens? So he put a right lens into the right eye and fitted over the cone. Fantastic. So I've been wearing two scleral lenses since that day, and as I say, over 20 years ago. So wearing scleral lenses has kept me off the operating table for a long time. Bearing in mind I was put forward for a graft on that first encounter with the surgical team at Moorfields. I still haven't had a graft in my right eye, and I'm not planning to. I did have to have a graft in my left eye on the 21st of May 2006. It's not a date that you forget, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, although I have to say the graft in my left eye went pretty well. After surgery I got 6/5 vision in that eye unaided, which was pretty good, and for a time I carried on unaided in the left, scleral lens in the right. But for me, I felt a little bit imbalanced actually. I much prefer wearing a lens in both eyes, and a lot of patients will tell you that. Although I don't see very well with the right eye, even with the lens, because I've had high drops in that eye twice and it is very, very scarred, I'm much more balanced. I can see stuff on the periphery, catch stuff. Perception of distance is far better with a scleral lens in both eyes. But when the sutures came out, I developed a very big cylinder in the left eye. The vision really became poor, and so that's when I got back a scleral lens into the left eye as well. A lot of surgeons see that as a failure, and in fact at Moorfields they offered me more and more surgery to try and correct the cylinder. I said it's fine, I love scleral lenses. They're great with motorcycling, they're great with skiing and sailing and a lot of the water sports that I do. I like scleral lenses, I'm perfectly happy to have one back in the left. So now I'm back with one in each eye post-graft. I should also tell you that the graft has not been plain sailing. It's rejected 4 times, and I still take steroids every day to stop rejection. Also, Ken will remember 2 years ago the endothelium was suspected to be wearing out in that left eye, so they were going to do a DMEC procedure to replace the endothelium. In the end, it turned out, although the endothelium was depleted, actually it was rejecting again, and after a load of steroids, the left eye has come back to life, and it carries on a little bit longer. We're not exactly sure how long it's going to last, but for now it's going strong. The thing about grafts is a lot of people have different opinions, and of course the outcome is unpredictable, and a lot of people say, well, you know, a graft, the sooner the better, you're going to have it done, let's do it sooner. And I say, wait a minute, isn't it later the better? Because every year that you leave it, things get better in terms of technology, in terms of advancements in the procedure, but also that donor eye will last that bit longer. So I say, later the better. Surely, that's just my opinion. Also, when I pushed the surgeons on the graft, they said 90% success. And I said, okay, what happens to the 1 in 10 then, the 10%? Yeah, not very good. Okay, so I've got a 10% chance of not being very good. What about the 90%? What's their vision like? Can they see? Wow, they're still alive, you know, they can kind of see. Can they see well enough to drive and use computers and work? Not so sure. And there's not that much data on that, so I thought, hang on a minute, for me, I would rather not have the invasive option. And with sclerals, pretty quickly, you'll see whether they're going to be the right option for people. You'll get to the end point really quickly. You've got nothing to lose. So why don't we try the sclerals, see how we get on with those, and then, and only then look at surgery. That was my viewpoint. People are different. And the other thing that I find amusing, well, you can be the judge of if it's amusing, but I find it amusing, is still now, every time I go to Moorfields, you know, the surgical team are here, literally here, recommending surgery, and Ken's team are here, like literally here. Surely they should speak to one another? That's something which I find a bit crazy. But the other thing which I think is really interesting is every time I go to Moorfields, they check my sight through the left eye and they say, yes, that's really pretty good, Mr. Ashman. And then they check it through the right eye and they say, oh, that's not so good, you're only really seeing the top line there of the chart. What about graft? And I say, wait a minute, this one is wearing out, it's rejected more than 4 times now, I'm still not out of the woods with this one. Why would we do another graft in this one? Especially when it's a very conical, very big graft section required. Why would we do that? Similarly, I also say to them, you're checking my eyesight like this. When I'm out there, you know, in the world, I don't look through one eye at a time. I look through both eyes at the same time together, like this. And there's a lot of scratching of heads and they say, yeah, okay. Yeah, I see what you mean. And that's the thing, you know, when I'm out there, out in the real world, I'm looking through both eyes at the same time, yet they check the vision only one at a time and recommend grafts on that basis. I can't understand that. Anyway, so I should also talk to you about something that's become a particular problem for me, which is blepharitis. Something I never suffered from when I was younger, but I wear the lenses for a long time. The longest I've ever worn one is probably about 20 hours on a long flight. No real problems until the last couple of years when I've really suffered with blepharitis, which is bloody awful. It's not just you know, a bit of a pain. It is actually very painful for me, and I've tried lots of different things, and there's only really one way I can get around the type of blepharitis I get from extended lens wear, which is a very hot wheat bag. It gives me a huge amount of relief, and for me now, I have to twice a day, you know, before I have a shower, I get a wheat bag in the microwave, very hot, almost to the point where it's just about bearable to put it onto my lids, and I'll push it onto the lids before I put the lenses in, get the oil in the lids very hot, and then I'll have a shower, and I can actually feel the oil coming out on the lashes afterwards. It's that effective. Then lots of people have talked about mucus and allergy. Sunshine is a problem for me, particularly when there's hay fever about, and particularly when you've got blepharitis. So I take medication against hay fever to stop excess mucus being generated, because obviously it can't escape behind the lens, and if it gets trapped there, it will generate more mucus and it will become a real irritant. So after I've had a shower, I will put some Apatinol drops, one into each eye, and that suppresses mucus production. Really is effective for that and helps with the blepharitis. Ordinarily, if I was there, we would have some questions and a bit of a demo, and you could have a little look and try some stuff out. I'm really sorry that I can't be there. If you've got any questions, Ken will know what the answer is, what my answer will be. Ask him, he knows me better than anybody else, so he will tell you. But I should show you, I suppose, how easy the lenses are to handle. Watch closely, because Ken says that I'm the only person that he's ever met that takes them out like this. But for me, I just take them out. I just hold the lens, take it out like that. You know, standing up, sitting down, no problem. Fill it with some amidose, some saline solution, and then in the lens, back in. As simple as that. The patients will quickly tell you whether they like them. I could tell you if you put one in that was not steep enough, I would feel that contact on the cornea. I can tell you what I can see. I can tell you that it's comfortable, it feels very nice. If the solution is cold, obviously you can feel that when you put it in. And the very first time a patient will put a scleral lens in, you might feel a little bit of weight sensation. But for me, in terms of comfort, far more comfortable than anything else, because there's no lid sensation. With Ken, I've tried all sorts of stuff because I'm a guinea pig, and we've tried piggybacks, mini sclerals, smaller diameter ones, torics, all sorts of different stuff. For me, I'm very easy. The standard size, normal diameter scleral is the easiest to handle. It gives the best vision, it's the most comfortable, there's no lid sensation, and I think sometimes we've just got to keep it simple. I think often in other countries, if it's not sort of laser beams and this, that and the other, people aren't very excited about it, but this is a simple solution. It's very easy to use and get on with. So you've made the effort to come to Hartford to learn from Ken and see what scleral lenses are all about. Be bold when you fit them to the patients. You know, they go in much easier, as you will see, or as you might have seen already. If you're quite forceful, you're not going to hurt the patient. Get them in there quite forcefully, quite quickly. It's not a problem. That is the way that you get them in there without any bubbles, and get them under the upper lid before releasing the lower lid. It's not a problem. Firmer is better. But I would just say one more thing. get out there and give it a go, because there are loads of people out there that you will come across just like me that will never have seen or heard of scleral lenses, that are struggling without them. Give them a go. The lenses just sitting there in the fitting set are going to be no good to anybody. Please go out there, spread the word that scleral lenses are fantastic.